Imagine surviving an atomic bomb. Now imagine surviving a second one, just 3 days later. It sounds impossible, like a story invented for a movie, but it really happened. And the man at the center of this story was named Tsutomu Yamaguchi. In August of 1945, World War II was reaching its final days. Japan had been at war for years. Cities had been bombed, resources were running low, and millions of people were exhausted by the conflict. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was a 29-year-old engineer working for Mitsubishi. He had traveled to Hiroshima on a business trip and was preparing to return home to Nagasaki. It was supposed to be an ordinary day. The morning of August 6th began like any other. The sky was clear, people were heading to work, children were preparing for school. Nothing seemed unusual. Then, at 8:15 a.m., everything changed. A single American bomber flew over Hiroshima. Moments later, it dropped a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen, the atomic bomb known as Little Boy. Yamaguchi suddenly noticed a blinding flash in the sky. The light was so intense that it felt brighter than the sun itself. Before he could react, a massive shockwave threw him through the air. Buildings collapsed, windows shattered, the city erupted into chaos. When he regained consciousness, Hiroshima had become a nightmare. Smoke filled the sky. Fires spread across the city. Thousands of people were injured or killed. Entire neighborhoods had vanished. Yamaguchi had suffered burns and injuries, but somehow he was still alive. Confused and in pain, he spent the night among the ruins. The destruction was unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. Many survivors wandered through the wreckage searching for loved ones. Others simply stared in disbelief at what remained of their city. No one truly understood what had happened. How could a single bomb cause so much destruction? Despite his injuries, Yamaguchi was determined to return home. He began the difficult journey back to Nagasaki. The trip was exhausting. Transportation systems were damaged, communication was limited, and the entire country was in confusion. Yet somehow, he made it. After surviving the deadliest explosion in human history, Tsutomu Yamaguchi finally arrived home. He believed the nightmare was over. He was wrong. 3 days later, on August 9th, Yamaguchi went to work. His burns were still fresh. His body was still recovering. While speaking with colleagues, he began describing what he had witnessed in Hiroshima. He told them about the blinding flash, the shock wave, the destruction, the city that had disappeared in a matter of seconds. Some found the story difficult to believe. How could one bomb destroy an entire city? Then it happened again. A brilliant flash suddenly lit the sky. For a moment, everything turned white. The second atomic bomb had been dropped. This time, the target was Nagasaki. The bomb was known as Fat Man. For the second time in just 3 days, Tsutomu Yamaguchi found himself near an atomic explosion. The force of the blast shook the city. Buildings collapsed, fires erupted, thousands of lives were lost, and once again, Yamaguchi somehow survived. The odds were almost impossible to comprehend. One atomic bomb was enough to kill tens of thousands of people, yet this man had lived through 2. The war would soon come to an end. Just days after the bombing of Nagasaki, Japan announced its surrender. World War II was over. But for survivors like Yamaguchi, the struggle was far from finished. In the years that followed, he lived with the physical and emotional consequences of what he had experienced. The memories never completely faded. The images of destruction remained with him for the rest of his life. Yet he continued moving forward. He raised a family. He built a life. And eventually, he began sharing his story with the world. For decades, many people knew him as the man who survived both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then, in 2009, the Japanese government officially recognized him as a survivor of both atomic bombings, a rare distinction in human history. Tsutomu Yamaguchi passed away in 2010 at the age of 93. But his story continues to fascinate people around the world. Not because he was a soldier, not because he was a politician, not because he was famous, but because he experienced something almost unimaginable and lived to tell the tale. 2 cities, 2 atomic bombs, 1 survivor, and one of the most extraordinary stories in human history. The man who survived twice.